All right. Well, welcome back to the channel. It's been a week, 2 weeks? I don't remember. It's been long night shift. So, we're back with the CB750 Build project. Where did I leave off? I left off with the list of problems. So, unfortunately, like I said in the last video, I don't have all the money to actually fix all those problems currently. But I can do cheaper stuff in the interim while I'm waiting for bike part season, also known as tax season. So, in the meantime, I've been looking at these bits and bobs, right? So, this one in front of me here is the head. So, this was the one that I pulled off of the actual bike. And I'm not sure how well this will show up on camera, but on here, you might be able to see it. That's not just oil. That's oil, and unfortunately, I'm guessing cam parts or cam particulates. That's my guess. So, I gotta clean this. I've also had a kind of silly idea. So, I've seen a lot of times people polish these things to mirror polish, and God, I can't express how much I don't want to do that. So, what I've seen instead is another idea I'd like to try, and that is etching. So, I tried a little bit of this with nothing but like a 9-volt battery and some salt water. And you can kind of see, like, this was just at my office. I'm pretty sure that my coworkers thought I was building a bomb because I brought in a couple of little electrodes and 9-volt batteries and a weird opaque solution in a mason jar and started hooking all of it up in the office because that makes sense. So, you can't probably see or hear it, but there is a little bit of a lip or an edge on that. So that was just using a 9-volt battery, and this took me like 5 minutes to do. So I like the idea, but I'd like to make it bigger. I.e., what I'd really like to do, since it's a Norse-themed bike, what I'm tempted to do is on all the big flat surfaces, like these little guys right around here, I would like to do and make it kind of look like an old forged axe blade. I'll probably put some pictures somewhere in this vicinity. Yeah, there it is. About what I want to do. And it's basically stuff that they do when they're forging weapons. So, in order to do that, I have to use some acid and some stencils and some stuff. But I can't do that until these are clean. Now, because I don't know that that idea is going to work, this head has, there it is, a big old chunk knocked out of it, and it's dented. So this is going to be the test one, the one that came off of the bike and has all those impacts on that cylinder. This is going to be my test head, for lack of a better term, to see if that idea will work. So what I think I'm going to do is around the edges, back this up a little bit, around the edges like this, I would like these edges to be shiny, I think. And then further in will be more of a matte, and then on the big flat surfaces, where stuff like this sits and is in the way, and you can actually, that's backwards, but on these big flat areas that you can see all the time, I'm gonna try and do like actual Norse etching on these. I don't know if it'll work yet, so we're gonna try it. And then you can either not do it or do it too, if it works or ruins this backup head that I've got. So, as part of that, here's the good one. Here's the good new head. So this is off of a, I wanna say 78 CB750, and it's in a little bit better condition. So it's slightly dirtier than this one, but that's not a huge deal because a lot of the fins, actually all of the fins, appear to be in better shape. It's still got the exhaust studs, so I'll have to remove those at some point, but it's not really that big of a deal. Plus, it's got the rocker assemblies, and they're good rocker assemblies. I've checked the feet already, or the little paws on the rockers, and they are in better shape than the ones that I have. So, I will be using these. Also, they're designed a little bit different. So you can see there's a bunch of little screw, or bolt heads here, here, and these. it's to stop this bar on the inside from rotating. On the older models, they didn't have that, and then they eventually did it, I think because it helps with lubrication as well as movement. It just keeps everything working the way it should. So I'm going to do that. But step one, which is going to be boring, but it'll be time-lapsed probably. I have been told that just out of frame here, there is a good cleaning agent. So we're going to do the worst unboxing ever. So give me 1 second. All right, let's unbox here. Cheap Harbor Freight, Cheap Harbor Freight, Cheap Harbor Freight, Walmart, Walmart, and then these. So, recommendation from a friend of mine, thank you, Will, was Purple Power. So it says on here, I think, that it doesn't want you to use it on aluminum wheels, but I think that's because they're already like polished and mirror reflective anyway, which is not what I'm doing with this, at least not for the whole thing. So I'm going to get to unloading, unboxing, / unpackaging all this crap, and then it'll be a long time lapse of me basically scrubbing the shit out of this until it's clean, or at least as clean as I think I need it to be. So let's get to work. Okay, so did some initial preparatory stuff. You can see I got my little tools laid out. So the only ones I'm actually going to be using, I think, these came with steel brushes, the little packs that I had up here. I'm not going to be using steel, obviously, because it's aluminum, and that would be stupid. So I'm going to be using nylon ones where I can, brass ones if I have to, and going from there. But for all of this down here, while I'm not going to be etching any of this, I do want it clean just so I don't get grease anywhere else if I touch it by accident. So I got these little like Scotch-Brite pad things over at Harbor Freight, and I'm going to use those. I'm going to get all this gasket crap off, clean where the valves seat and everything, because again, I just want it clean so I can go from there. Once I kind of got all the big heavy gunk, or in this case gasket material, off, once I've got that taken care of, then I'm going to transition over to the box that I actually pulled everything out of, which is, dang mosquitoes, that's the problem with it being Louisiana and 80 degrees, mosquitoes. So I'm going to put all this into the big bucket / box that I actually unboxed everything from, which is just out of frame. And that's when we're going to get the Purple Power out and start actually cleaning some stuff. So I'm probably going to time-lapse this because it's probably going to be super, super boring. So, time-lapse. Blown fuse, that figures. Don't try and do air compressor and drill and whatever the other ones. I think I'm running a heater or an air conditioner somewhere. I'll be right back. Yep, just blew the power switch. So, we're back. Continuing with cleaning. Okay, so the breaker keeps tripping on that thing, probably because it's hot and it's putting a lot of strain on it, and I don't know, the sun is in its eyes, something like that. So for anybody who thinks I'm trying to be too aggressive with this, I'm trying to be really, really careful in the way that I clean it so that I'm not actually marring the surface of the head. Because it doesn't really matter on this one, but on that one it might, since that's the one I'm planning on using. So I'm trying to be really careful. Anytime I'm using something like this, like a little steel X-Acto knife, he says as he drops it directly onto the thing, I'm trying to keep it so I'm still cutting through just the gasket and the adhesive and not like up into the metal. Obviously I don't want to cut into aluminum with a steel X-Acto knife. So I'm trying to be really, really careful with that, and then being pretty light with the little Scotch-Brite spinning pad thing, just to kind of get the blemishes off. I don't really care if it gets shiny. I don't really need it to get shiny. This is just to get all the stuff off so I can feel that it doesn't have any additional residue on it. So yeah, back to work, kind of in the dark since it doesn't want to cooperate with me. Something was making a noise. Okay, so here's where we're at currently. So I just finished basically cleaning off the bottom of this. I still got to get into the actual noise, into where the heads are, or I'm sorry, where the valves sit a little bit to clean those up in here, down in these. But that looks way, way better than it did before. So you can kind of see I got all that freaking gasket material off, which is great. Yeah, I had to be very kind of careful with some of it because it just flakes all over the place. So I don't think that I was scratching anything hard enough to actually cause any damage, but I will also probably get this face checked just in case. Well, not this one, that one, once it's done. Just to make sure that nothing happened. But I mean, you can kind of see even in here on these little these outer tabs, the fins, when I got those with the abrasive, it didn't take away that, just like that texture at all. So it's not even enough to really do anything other than pull off surface dust and things that aren't supposed to be there. I don't think it's digging into the aluminum at all, so I'm not sweating it. But you'll notice, now that we've had a chance to clean this guy up, let me see. Yeah. You can kind of see even more all of this pitting that is right around here, and it is gnarly. I don't know if that was like, it's not a regular shape, so I don't think it's a bolt. Part of me wonders if like maybe he was running around without the exhaust for a while and a rock, because the exhaust faces forward, and maybe like a rock popped up, jumped down a valve. I don't know. I don't know what could have caused that kind of weird impacting all around the surface, but something was bouncing around in there and messing with that. It doesn't look like it hit anywhere where the valves seat though, which is kind of handy. So, going to continue work. Bottom is done. I think next I'm going to tackle the top, and then the most miserable piece, which is going to be trying to get as deep as I can in between all these fins, giggity, and getting those cleaned up. So, time lapse continue. quietly back because my phone is about to die. My camera, rather, is about to die. So I'm just about done cleaning up with this one. What I decided to do for this is along this top edge, so this will be the top of the bike, and along this top edge, I basically am going through and I'm pushing a little bit harder on this to get down to the shiny aluminum and get past some of this like oxidation that's on the surface, because that's basically what I'm going to be doing to all the big flat surfaces that I want to etch. So I'm going to continue doing that, finish this up, but probably not tonight. In about 20 minutes or so, I'm going to be heading out and going to hang out with some friends, and this can wait. Friends are more important than this. So, yeah. I'm going to finish polishing off this, and then I will be back probably tomorrow when I get to cleaning. So, more to follow. Alright, it's the following day, and I'm just going to get back at it right away and keep grinding away stuff. So, continued time lapse. Okay, I think where we're at now is it's about time to get the purple power out. So I've cleaned a bunch of the surfaces that I can reach, but I've still got a ton of grime, obviously, in between all this stuff. So rather than continuing to do time lapse, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute, pop these edges just to get them shiny because I'm curious what happens when I do that. Actually, I'm going to wait to do that until after I've got it set up and cleaned. Alright, in that case, I'm going to throw it in the tub and I'm going to clean it. And we'll see how that looks. I might record that, I might not. Probably not, because it's just scrubbing something with a bunch of different brushes. And that's boring. So I will see you when I see you.
Them at the crew and the cracks.
3 hours later.
Okay, so that took forever to do. But I managed to get, I think, most of the grease off of this little guy. So, what it does, I'm noticing this purple power does put, like it has a warning on the back, where is it? Blah, 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 blah. Wear gloves, blah, blah, blah. To determine surface acceptance, test an outside area, and avoid damage to surfaces, especially on aluminum, painted surfaces, and fabric. I promise I can read. So, I think it can potentially do damage to aluminum. However, after having used it on this thing, it doesn't seem to have done any damage. It puts a little sheen on it, like a weird kind of coloration, but it comes right off with Scotch-Brite. So what I'm about to do here is finishing up, polishing this guy down with the Scotch-Brite, And once I get it back down to like it's, you know, barely shiny, kind of ready to be prepped for their finish, I'll get back to y'all. So for right now, though, I'll be back. All right, well, I think that's about gonna do it for today and this video. So here's where we got down to. There's a bug crawling in the engine. All right, here's where we got to. So we've got it pretty well shined up. Even the fins, got those pretty nice looking. It's still got, obviously, like the exhaust is still kind of rough. There's not really a lot I can do about that because I don't have any brushes that are going to fit down in there. Purple Power worked great for most of what I was doing, and I was able to get a lot of this crud out of there. So, since this is the test one anyway, I think I can move on to testing. So I think what I'm going to do next video is I'm going to mark off these areas. I'm going to polish them up just a little bit. What I kind of want is not super shiny for the accents or the etched pieces or the unetched pieces, but more like polished aluminum, like shiny aluminum, not the matte, rough-looking aluminum, kind of like you have here on these edges. So I want them to be a little bit shiny, kind of like it is right now, with how shiny that is. So in order to do that, I've got some aluminum polish that I might run across some stuff, and then it's going to be a matter of putting down some different patterns and figuring out what sticks. So I'm probably going to break it down and do a couple of different spots, so like one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, basically all over the place, and starting, honestly, down here on the bottom where nobody would see it anyway. Test out these areas, put stickers on them, adhere the stickers, do the acid etch, and figure out what works best as far as combinations of chemicals as well as time, etc. So that's where we're at. I didn't show this, but it's looking a lot better. You can kind of see. There we go. Clean most of the carbon out of there just using that Purple Power. But yeah, that's where we're at. So next one, we actually move on to the legitimate experiment. So as always, like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.